So, you want to storm Area 51? Well, I got bad news for you.
Hi everybody, this is foXnoMad, and today I want to help you travel smarter by helping you not get shot as you storm across Area 51. So maybe that's a little bit of hyperbole, but it may not be. So you've probably heard about this Storm Area 51 Facebook group that's been going around. About 3 million people are signed up, so 1.3 million people have signed up that they're going to actually storm and raid Area 51 on September 20th between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. and there's 1.8 million people who are interested. So over 3 million people on this, what the creator is calling a joke account now, have signed up to storm Area 51 to find out if there are aliens. So
people kind of want to know what's in there. I think a lot of people are going to show up just because it's kind of a meme. But when people do show up, though, I'm working with some great people. We're planning something really cool out there. So I think last time I checked, it was like 3 million people have RSVP'd as either interested or going, so it's no small number.
So the idea is they can't stop all of our bullets, as the Facebook group calls it. 3 million people storm Area 51 and just find a box full of aliens. Now, since then, the US Air Force has made a statement which says the area is an open training range for the US Air Force, and we would discourage anyone from trying to come into the area where we train American armed forces. Now, Area 51 is part of Nellis Air Force Base, which covers about 1,500 square kilometers over an area of Nevada. And since this statement has been issued, the creator of that Facebook group has come out and said it was just a joke. Don't try to raid or storm Area 51. It's dangerous.
It started out as just from a pure stroke of imagination. It's just meant to be funny. I want to do something cool out there now that we have a bunch of people, but I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Now, I've actually been to the gates of Area 51 before, so I wanted to run this thought experiment for you. What would actually happen if you were going to try to raid Area 51 or storm it? What would actually happen? And these are 8 reasons why an Area 51 raid would ultimately fail. So let's start with the first and most common scenario, which is you're a tourist and you want to go visit the gates of Area 51, which you can do. It's about a 2.5-hour drive from Las Vegas on the extraterrestrial highway. That highway is a 2-lane highway, and it is literally in the middle of nowhere. There's the black mailbox, which is sort of a famous stop along the way. There are no gas stations within over 200 kilometers in the area, so you've got to fill up before you get on the extraterrestrial highway and make sure that you have enough gas in your car to get all the way to the next gas station. In the middle of that extraterrestrial highway is Rachel, Nevada, which is a town of about 100 people, and that's where you'll find the Little Ale Inn, which is, you've seen probably if you've seen the movie Paul. It shows up in a lot of science fiction lore, as does the black mailbox. So there are a couple of little alien themed touristic things that you can do in that part of Nevada. They also give you a map how to get to the gate of Area 51, which is about a 15-minute drive over dirt to the gates. Now, when I say gates, it's not a completely fenced off area. It's a massive area, so fencing it off would not really be practical in most cases. So what you do is you go to the gate. It's literally a gate pretty much in the middle of the desert. Now, putting aside the storming of Area 51 aside for a second, this is what they tell you in Rachel at the Little Ale Inn. They'll give you instructions on how to get there, how to take pictures, and what not to do when you're there. Primarily not trying to do what a couple of people inevitably do every year, trying to just take a step or two beyond the gate to get a selfie, probably from the gate on the other side. Now, if you look at this picture, you'll notice there are cameras there. There might be other cameras that you can't see, and occasionally there are white vans on either side of the gate. You're told not to take pictures of those at the Little Ale Inn. Every year, those couple of people that do actually cross even a step or two inside of Area 51, well, it doesn't go so well for them. And I've written about the whole procedure, what happens when you do cross into Area 51. I'll link to that in the description below, but just in short, basically what happens is you'll be greeted by agents who, well, if you look at the gate, there doesn't look like there's anybody there at all times, but clearly there are eyes on you. You're really in the middle of nowhere, so even a single camera would be able to probably detect a car, let alone 3 million people. It's very, very isolated, and there's barely a road. It's a dirt road to get out to that gate. So if you do cross over, even if it's a couple steps, you'll be greeted by agents at some point, either when you're getting back to your car or driving back to the main highway. You'll be held face down at gunpoint, and then your car will be confiscated. That will be sent 2 hours north. You will be sent to a detention center 2 hours south. There's a lot of paperwork to fill out, and then you end up on the United States terror watch list, which means you probably won't be able to fly in a plane because you get put on the no-fly list. And it's a major, major hassle for the people that actually do it every year who get caught trying to take that selfie. So don't do that. Now, I would imagine the consequences of actually running toward something in Area 51, and let me be clear, from the gate, you can't see anything beyond that gate. There's really nothing visible. It's just open land. So if you're raiding for aliens, it's not like there's a building that you can just storm into to get inside. So if that doesn't sound bad enough and you're still thinking about storming Area 51, these are the 8 reasons why it probably wouldn't work. So the first thing, which I kind of mentioned before, is that this is a very remote area. There's only a single 2-lane, basically 1 lane going one way, 1 lane going the other way, highway that drives sort of past Area 51. But like I said, you'll end up in Rachel, Nevada. Then you'll take a car from there. You'll drive about 15 minutes off-road on some dirt roads to get to the gate. And that gate is the only thing there. But this being such a remote location that pretty much any group of people is going to be clearly standing out when they get there. So I'm guessing if 3 million people showed up, you'd probably be greeted by a lot of authorities before you even got close to the gate of Area 51. This terrain is very rough, so even if you are in great physical shape and you just decided to go running, now remember this is 1,500 square kilometers, it's about 930 miles, and that would be over some very rough desert conditions. There are lots of stones, there are a lot of cactus. Well, the raid is at night, so that's also going to be an issue. You're not going to have a lot of visibility. There are rattlesnakes out there. There are probably other animals out there as well. No open, no visible roads to go on at night where there's no visibility. You're just going to be running straight into nothingness.
There was one gentleman that messaged the page from Denmark and said I made their local news, which I thought was just completely wild. Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
And probably a lot of broken ankles, and that's assuming that you're not intercepted before you even get there. So it would not be, even if this were land that were open for a marathon or something, it would be so difficult to run through that kind of terrain that I don't think that you could do it. Now, the third reason is you wouldn't really know where you're going because, like I said, that gate is pretty much just a gate into nothingness. It just sort of maybe delineates the border of where Area 51 or Nellis Air Force Base is. There's some hills off to the side, and then there's pretty much flat terrain otherwise. You don't know if Area 51 or where the aliens are is above ground or not. Pretty much you don't know where you're going. You'd be running, sprinting over rough terrain at night, and you're in the middle of nowhere. So far, it's not looking good. If you did find a structure, assuming that all of the structures there are above ground, I don't know, they might be hiding the aliens underneath ground, but even if you did find a structure, I'm gonna guess those doors are locked, and this is a very high security facility. If they do have aliens there, which is, there's a possibility, not very likely, but still possible, I want to believe. If there are aliens in there, you know that they are going to lock those doors. There are going to be man traps inside. There are going to be multiple locks within the facility. So even if you did get to a structure where there might be aliens or more likely top secret Air Force designs, airplanes, information, then you can be sure that the place is not only locked extremely well from the outside, but internally as well. 3 million people storming a place like that is pretty much like 0 people storming a place like that, since you wouldn't be able to breach the outside of a military structure like that. So the fifth reason is the cameras. I mean, there are cameras basically pretty much all over the place that you probably can't see. The visible cameras you do see on the gate, I'm gonna guess you're being watched. At the Little Ale Inn, they do tell you, don't take pictures of the white vans. Those white vans might show up, they said, to keep an eye on you, which apparently is pretty common. I didn't see any white vans on the other side of the gate, but while I was leaving Area 51's gate, I did notice 3 or 4 white vans driving toward the gate as I was going going back to Rachel, Nevada. My guess is that the Air Force probably takes the visitors seriously, and given that a couple of people every year, as the little alien tells you, usually college students who go in to get that selfie and a couple steps in, so they probably do keep an eye, especially on tourists who they know are going to be tempted to sort of violate that gate, since there's no fence beyond the gate and it doesn't look like there's anybody actually at the gate at most times. The sixth reason is motion sensors. Again, this is sort of a detection thing. I don't know if there are motion sensors there, but I'm gonna guess, given how high security this place is, how much open road and desert there is, there are probably gonna be motion sensors. And I'll add to that, there might be booby traps, all kinds of things that you don't want to know about if you're gonna be running, sprinting full force at Area 51. Seventh reason is those mysterious white vans that do pop up from time to time on the horizon, keeping an eye on you from either side of the gate of Area 51. Something ominous about it, and man, it does make you want to believe that there are aliens in there, because those white vans sure do look like something out of the X-Files. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably just it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. And the eighth reason why storming Area 51 would probably not work, and why it's a bad idea, is that you could very well get shot.
Where lethal force can be used on trespassers.
I'm kind of worried about that. I've had a couple people DM the page where they're like, I'm willing to die for the government, let's do this. And I'm just like, oh my God, bud.
Now, the interesting thing about this is flights to Las Vegas around September 20th are completely booked. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not people actually do show up to try to storm Area 51. Again, it's a really bad idea.
Robert says the whole storming the gates idea was really more of a joke. He has other plans for the masses that may show up on September 20th.
It's not going to be like a military-based slaughter. It'll actually be something really fun, educational, maybe music and art. That's what I'm working on.
And if you really want to know about the existence of aliens, and who doesn't, right? Like I think we all want to know, are we alone? Does the government have aliens or knowledge about aliens and all of that? But storming Area 51 is probably not going to produce the results that we want with aliens. Now, all of that aside, visiting Rachel, Nevada and visiting the gate is pretty cool, assuming that you don't try to actually storm Area 51. When I was there twice, 2 jets or 3 jets sort of buzzed me. These were fighter jets. They were so low I could actually see the pilots inside of the craft. They couldn't have been more than like 40 meters, 100 feet above, if that. I mean, it was such a cool sight to see. They were going really low. They sort of turned and looked at me and the car, and it was really a cool experience. I know a lot of people do camp out at the black mailbox at night, so they look up for UFOs. It's a really common camping ground, so if you go out with a bunch of friends, you decide to spend the night there. When I was there were some flags from Switzerland and all sorts of places, so people do go and camp out, and at night you might actually see something interesting in the sky. Remember that Nellis Air Force Base is an Air Force base, and they probably are testing all sorts of craft that maybe not be alien, but still look pretty cool from the ground if you can see them. So there you have it. Those are the 8 reasons that storming Area 51 would probably fail and why you shouldn't do it. This was just a little thought experiment. I thought I'd have a little fun with this. I really think it's cool that people are so passionate about wanting to know more about aliens, especially after some recent Air Force disclosures.
New reporting this morning on unidentified flying objects in our airspace. The New York Times speaking with 5 Navy pilots who've all said they've encountered UFOs during training missions up and down the East Coast. The pilots even noting that the objects were accelerating to hypersonic speed, making sudden stops and instantaneous turns, something beyond the physical limits of a human crew.
So I'm curious, what do you think is out there? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons, check out the merch. I'll have new videos for you every week. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. As a little alien,